What is your worst symptom now?
Pain in my lower back and tremor or jerking in my left leg, numbness in my feet.
Inability to jog or walk. Okay, so you're a very slow walker at this point.
Yes.
All right. I want you to take one step forward away from the fridge. All right, so your left hip seizes up, does it?
Yes, it doesn't want to go.
It doesn't want to go. So I want you to pat yourself on your head, on top of your head with your left hand. Rub your tummy with your right hand. Now I want you to swap over. Pat your head, rub your tummy, and now take the step forward with your left foot. Take a little walk across the unit here. Do you need your walker to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, away you go now. That's it. Okay, Sarah, now just turn around and then come back this way. So the turning round seems to be your most difficult task.
Yes, it is. I don't want you to leave.
I want you to stand up with your back to the fridge.
I'll try to.
No.
There you go.
Remember what,
I will.
Remember what God tells us about faith?
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
There you go. I want you to let go of your tension. Now I want you to walk, follow me and walk exactly how I walk. Enjoy the walk. Enjoy the walk. I want you to go back to the fridge and start again. However you want, I want you to go back to the fridge and start again. Concentrate on lifting your knees when you want to turn. Lift the knee and place the foot. That's better, that's better. Feet apart for confidence. That's it. Let this go. This is like steel. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it all drop and walk like me. Now you're cooking with gas.
If you're taking a step with your left foot, you have to shift your weight. So when you go forward, now you're shifting your weight to your left side, to your right side. So it's all about the balance. The balance in the way you walk, the balance in the way you think.
Feel the muscles go free and away we go. Shift your balance like Jody said. There you go. This is day 4. You've blown us all away with how much you've improved. You must be very happy, eh?
Yes, excited.
Okay, so let's see how easy it is for you to stand up and turn around on the spot. Real easy. Goodness me. And
Did
so
you want
you,
me to twirl?
so you can
Fly.
So you can put that walker away now real easy. A lot easier and quicker than you did before. There you go. Goodness me.
Done with that.
All right, take a wander over here for us and take a walk and there you go. And past over near the beds there. and turn around. So, and bend over, touch the floor.
Almost.
Okay, could you do that last week? You couldn't.
All we can say is, together, the Lord has given you and Jody a great amount of wisdom. Thank you that Sarah's got an attitude to receive it.
Yeah.
To be able to function once again as God created her to be.
All right. Parkinson patients are told by neurologists that their symptoms are caused by death, D-E-A-T-H, it's final, of dopamine-producing cells in a gland of the midbrain called the substantia nigra, and a subsequent lack of the hormone dopamine due to those cells being dead. Now, I'd like to say that basic common sense tells us that this causal reasoning is absolutely impossible. You see, all Parkinson patients quite often feel a slight, a reasonable, or a huge reduction in symptom severity after a good night's sleep, and sometimes after just having a good 15-minute afternoon nap. Some patients wake up in remission after a good sleep. However, unless any of these patients correct their hormonal musculospinal abnormalities, the original true causes of their symptoms, as soon as they get out of bed and move around, their symptoms will return.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is the different sounds in your kidney areas. Can you hear that on there? I suppose it's like a drum, hear that? But on this side, that's normal. Now if I press my thumb in, that hurts, doesn't it? Because there's much more tension around this kidney than the other one. So when I press my thumb in on this one, it doesn't hurt and I can't feel the swelling and the inflammation on this side. You see the difference? So you should be able to push your thumbs in those two kidney areas and you can feel the difference yourself. So you know you've got to work. Your whole right side is really tight. This trapezius muscle's still got a little tension. We got rid of quite a lot of it throughout the 5 days. I mean this is day 5 where we're ending it and you've still got tension here and you've still got tension and inflammation around this right kidney. So the whole right side of your body is still tight. Is that sore when I press behind the knee?
Not really.
No, so we got rid of that.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but I mean it was worse on Monday, wasn't it? How's that feel?
Fine.
And doing that?
Fine.
That's fine. So we got a bit of tension out of here, but you've still got a lot of tension around this right kidney and the trapezius. So you've still got to work on that. Don't get overconfident that because you're now running that everything's fine, because it's not yet. You've still got to keep working on it. All right. Just now, I want you to understand that the exact same reasoning for the real cause of Parkinson's symptoms applies to the symptoms of multiple sclerosis, which neurologists blame on lesions or plaques eating away spots in the myelin insulating sheath around nerves. They claim that once these spots or holes are eaten in the myelin insulating sheath, they can't be repaired, which is the very basis for medical leaders claiming MS is incurable. However, if this were the case, MS patients would never experience fluctuations in symptom severity. The thing is, MS patients often experience bouts of temporary remission so often that medical leaders have classed this experience as relapsing remitting MS. When you were dizzy, did you have a feeling of falling to only one side or any side?
When she would turn to one of the sides, it would be worse.
You've heard of vasovagal, haven't you? It's a sickness provoked by the vagus nerves. Haven't heard of it. That's what it would have been. When you bend over, did you feel sick?
Yeah, she would feel sick when she bent over.
Yeah, that's misalignments in your neck causing that nausea. So when you bend over, the weight of your head puts more pressure on the nerves and makes you feel sick. It's not common, but 1 in 4 or 5 MS patients gets that. Yeah, all right. And you did vomit. Usually only when you turn your head to one side that made you feel like you had to vomit.
Yes.
You're a medical doctor
Yes.
and your specialty is endocrinology.
Yes.
So does that mean that you understand thought with emotion releases a specific hormone into the bloodstream?
Yes.
Yes? And a negative thought with emotion causes a negative effect release of hormones into your bloodstream?
Yes.
And a positive thought with emotion releases positive effect hormones. Every hormone is needed in the body, it has a job, but when the hormones are not enough or too much, it causes problems, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You also would know that when you suppress grief, it causes a release of excess grief hormones that makes your muscles go tight and interferes with your moods, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's a lot of people don't understand that. When we look at the lumbar section of the spine, we always look to see the obturator foramen is a different size. And that tells us if you've got a twisted pelvis. Well, they're exactly the same size. So when this x-ray was taken, you didn't have a twisted pelvis, and yet the distance at the iliac crest is a lot higher on the right. And then you look at the head of the femur, you can see there's a big, big difference. It's probably a ½ an inch. But when you stand up, I can check that. So if I put my finger in here and I feel the iliac crest, see, I can see a ½ an inch difference. Yes,
She says that the right leg is difficult to
yes, that's great.
move.
Yes, yes, that's Watch my foot. It's really small movement. You only bend your knee a little bit. And do you know the reason that you fell that way? The reason is that you didn't go over and stand on top of your foot. You went like this and then you could fall that way because you didn't bend that way.
Okay, so rule number 1.
As you
No more than 3 inches apart. That's good. Rule number 2. Don't try and lift your foot until you've found your position. Because the longer you take to find your position, your balance position, the more you help your middle ear find it easy. So take your time, find the position, then lift the other leg 1, 2, 3 quickly and put it back down. The lifting the leg doesn't matter that much, but the finding the position is the important part. This is what I want you to do. I want you to do this. With your left leg, do this. Very slowly. And put it back down again. Then your right leg, put it back down again. Now, you see how that one was shaking? I want you to understand, you're shaking because your psoas muscle is in trauma. I'm going to massage the psoas muscle before we do this. We have to eliminate every possible thing that's holding you back. So lift this one again very slowly.
because I had a little pain in my mandibula and stuff.
That's okay. Your psoas, yeah. That's it, that's better. Now the other one. And you know what? You don't even need to lift it high. Watch me. No shaking. See how it's shaking? It's shaking because everything's tense. So now this one. And then down again. Put it down. Like, see, I'm going to get you to do this. That's it!
Yes,
That's it!
Where do you
That's it! You got it! Now, do it again, but relax. Enjoy the walk. Enjoy the walk. This is much better. This is much better. This is much better. Now relax more.
Nossa, estamos falando assim.
Enjoy the walk.
Só ter visto.
Está falando pra ele,
Joia.
tem que chacoalhar o...
Canta aí.
Excellent. I'm very proud of you. That's good. Now,
Ya está vacío.
Ahí sí. Oye, aquí vamos a estar un rato y luego después.
Voy a tener este cuarto y a ver si pasa por ahí.
El 222. Muy bien. He's the nurse from him.
You're the nurse?
He's a doctor.
Yes, I read that.
Okay, and he worked all
But
the
not
time
ev-
with him.
You're a lucky man.
For 30 years.
Yeah?
For 30 years.
30 years together.
Wow. Antonio, you mind if I call you Tony?
Sí, dígale que sí, yes.
Hi, Tony. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And welcome to the program. Each of the 7 days has a theme. Today's theme is prostaglandin and histamine, the 2 hormones of blood flow. And yes, tomorrow's theme is peace of mind. When the body has Parkinson's MS symptoms, it starts with something wrong in your thinking that interferes with REM sleep, which releases too much noradrenaline, which makes the muscular system go really tight.
Y que todo el sistema nervioso se contrae.
And thinking that releases noradrenaline is thinking that reduces the release of prostaglandin and histamine.
Que tiene que reducir la estamina.
Do you understand that as a nurse?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now you two obviously know that every hormone has a job and is needed, but it's only when it's in excess or insufficient that it causes trouble in the body, correct?
Ajá, dice que todo.
Now from there, we come out into the ancillary parts of the treatment, which is the chiropractic to straighten the spine, because when you release a lot of stress hormones, you make the muscles go really tight, you interfere with sleep, and all the tension in your body pulls the skeletal frame out of alignment, which also pinches nerves, which suppresses nerve signals to different muscles. Now I want you to walk over to the bed and turn around and walk back.
Lo que quiero es ver si usted puede caminar y que camine, dé la vuelta y se regrese.
So you have to take little steps.
Tiene que hacer pasito chiquito.
Now turn around there.
Dese la vuelta. Dese la vuelta, doctor. Regrésese.
So you have trouble turning around?
Ajá. ¿Sí tiene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Done.
Es todo. Respire, doctor, respire.
Take a really deep breath and hold it for the count of 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out and relax. Relax and then try to
Relájese y trate otra vez de caminar.
Do you want the walker?
¿Quiere caminar?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Oh my goodness, he's jogging.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's really good. That's really good. Ay. This is tension.
Ajá.
Anybody who can't see that, they're blind.
Ajá.
That's tension.
Es tensión. Nadie puede ver el cerebro, pero está tensionado.
Let me ask you again, in a different way. What is this in the mind?
This favorite thing you call.
It's a mind that's not at peace. In your medical studies, did they teach you disease is dis-ease?
Sí, malestar es, en medicina, malestar es malestar.
Did they teach you that?
Que si le enseñaron eso.
Que si le-
This is day 2, and you feel really good, so you're going to try and walk on your own.
And my left hand,
Yep, that's great.
I want confidence
Yep,
in my body.
yep, yep.
Now I am going to walk in my seat instead
To the horizon.
You're looking at the horizon instead of looking down at the floor all the time. That's great.
Ver hacia arriba.
Don't look at the floor. No vea para el piso.
That's really good.
Diga que no ha tomado.
This day I don't take medicine anymore.
You've decided yourself that you're not taking the medicine anymore.
Dígale en español. Yo decidí no tomar.
Right.
always thinking about you said in your book
Yep.
that the trouble is you don't have dopamine, and the truth is false.
That's correct. It's false.
It's
It's
false.
wrong. Yeah.
When I read about surgery, deep brain,
Deep brain stimulator.
I said it's impossible that you think that it's good when you are destroying the brain
Right.
with electricity or another kind. You put the cells inside, and you said, ¿cómo se llama?
Las células madre.
Other cells.
Las células madre.
Mother cells.
Other cells, people put any cells inside the brain.
Siempre las células madre.
I think that it's impossible that the AIDS said to go
To fix it.
To create
Que va a crecer la
dopamine.
sustancia.
Nah, it's incredible.
It doesn't work. You're right. You're right. It doesn't work.
The X-ray that I have,
Yep.
I saw I have troubles in the neck.
Yep.
And
The spine.
Yep.
Spine.
Yep.
And then, well, maybe have a relation with my Parkinson.
But now-
when I read all the book, I am happy to know you and your settlement. I feel better.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think that is good for other people and know this kind. I try to study more English because it's necessary to all people know your settlement in my city too.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's apply a little common sense to this. If the symptoms of Parkinson's disease were caused by a lack of dopamine, wouldn't that mean that when any Parkinson patient took their levodopa, medical dopamine substitute, because that would have replenished their dopamine that was lacking, their symptoms should diminish or perhaps fade away altogether. Isn't that just common sense? But their symptoms don't fade away after taking dopamine medication. And the reason is because Parkinson's symptoms are not caused by dying dopamine-producing cells and a subsequent lack of dopamine. Not only do symptoms not fade away after taking dopamine medication, but in many cases, the symptoms experienced by some Parkinson's patients actually get worse in response to taking their prescribed dopamine medications. So you were taking 3 Medopa, 125 grams each.
Yes.
Didn't stop it, slow it?
No, if anything, they speeded it up. That's why I phoned up. I said, look, these have made it worse.
Yeah.
He said they do tend to do that when you first go on the tablets, but he said then afterwards it should slow down. The next time, he said, I am a bit disappointed that they didn't help you with what they have. I said, well, they haven't helped me at all. So we've got 5 relatives who are all doctors, and they said, look, you know, those tablets, they're not a good thing really. You know, after 5 or 6 years, they won't have any effect at all.
Yeah.
So they've got a blinking effect now.
Yeah.
And they said,
but your neurologist said even though you don't feel an effect,
take them.
you should take them anyhow.
Yes.
You're in there?
No, I didn't, not a lot.
Let's try from the other side. So that slowed it down, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely, it has an influence through the C1 vertebra somehow.
Yeah, I could feel it slow down a little bit when you did that.
Yeah, now it's come up to full speed again.
Yeah.
So if I press it again, an immediate response, isn't there?
Yeah. As soon as you do that, it slows it right down.
Yeah. And now it's back again.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a correlation between the misaligned C1 vertebra and your tremor.
Yeah.
And you can see how there's a blood path all the way down to there.
Yes.
But below his rib cage there's no blood path, and there should be. And this little spot here has come up a little bit red, and that's got no red on it.
What does that mean?
It means that there's less blood flow in this hip than that one. And that's pretty poor. There's no red marks there at all from the rib cage down. So he's got less circulation from the rib cage down, which means his neck has got so many problems in it, it's restricting blood flow below the rib cage. Which means if we don't fix this, he will soon have problems with one hip, this hip, and then his legs.
Okay.
So you've just caught this at the right time.
All right.
And you put your hand there and then put your hand there, feel the difference in heat. Feel the difference?
Yes.
There's a definite temperature difference between that hip and this hip. Now, I wish to read researched notes announcing 8 different facts that Dr. James Parkinson published in his famous book, An Essay on the Shaking Palsy, that clearly support the success of my before and after patient videos showing Parkinson, MS and sarcoid patients reaching remission in just 4 to 14 days due to these researched notes. This video will clearly show you that the true proven causes of symptoms associated with Parkinson's disease, MS and sarcoidosis, and possibly another 20 additional diseases that have been associated with the same symptoms as Parkinson's disease, have been totally ignored and suppressed for over 200 years, leaving advanced patients suffering a horrible, long, drawn-out death, all in the name of drug sales, in my opinion. Back in 1999, during an appointment I had with the then Shadow Minister for Health in Queensland, Fiona Simpson MP, I showed her 2 before and after videos of a Parkinson patient and an MS patient who I put into remission in 4 and 7 days using a natural treatment based on Dr. James Parkinson's book here. And Fiona Simpson basically said to me, "I'm sorry, Mr Batten, but the Australian government isn't interested in your discovery, and I presented it as a cure for Parkinson's disease." Now I wish to read those research notes comprising 8 different facts that are the foundation for my treatment program that has in recent years put many Parkinson and MS patients into remission in just 4 to 14 days. It appears that government officials and medical leaders have totally ignored Dr. Parkinson's curative findings since 1817, and in my opinion they've done so to receive kickbacks and incentives while they turn their backs on patients so they are left to endure a long, drawn-out, suicidal suffering. Okay, so now I'm going to revert to Dr. James Parkinson's book here, An Essay on the Shaking Palsy, because all the information that I used to create the BA10 reversal treatment program that gets the amazing success over Parkinson's, MS and quite a few other rigidity autoimmune diseases came from this book. So first I'm going to quote from page 62 and 63, which covers internal pharmaceuticals. Until we are better informed respecting the nature of this disease, the employment of internal medicines is scarcely warrantable unless analogy should point out some remedy, the trial of which rational hope might authorise. Then over on page 63 he notes, if this notion be pursued and tonic medicines and highly nutritious diet be directed, no benefit is likely to be thus obtained, since the disease depends not on general weakness but merely on the interruption of the flow of the nerves influencing the affected parts. Interruption to nerves, don't forget that. So now I'm going over to page 56. 56 says, all that has been ventured to assume here has been that the disease depends on a disordered state of that part of the medulla which is contained in the cervical vertebra. In other words, the section of the spine just under the skull. It seldom happens that the agitation extends beyond the arms within the first 2 years, which period, therefore, if we are disposed to divide the disease into stages, might be said to comprise the first stage. In this period, it is very probable that remedial means might be employed with success. That was the main part of this book that inspired me to start off collecting all the causes that he mentioned in this book in order for me to create my treatment program. Now I wish to quote about arm nerves on pages 53 and 54. So 53. The arms, the parts first manifesting disordered action, of course direct us, while searching for the cause of these changes, to the brachial nerves, but finding the mischief extending to other parts not supplied with these, but with other nerves derived from nearly the same part of the medulla spinalis, we are of course led to consider that portion of the medulla spinalis itself from which these nerves are derived as the part in which those changes have taken place which constitute the proximate cause of this disease. Now I revert to page 42 and 43, where he once again refers to the swelling of the medulla. We chiefly took notice of the medulla oblongata. This was greatly enlarged, surpassing the usual size by more than 1/3. It was likewise more compact. From these appearances, we were at no loss to fix the cause of this gradual palsy in the alteration of the medulla spinalis and oblongata. Now on page 37 in this book, he notes palsy of the lower limbs, which is frequently found to accompany a curvature of the spine and in which a carious state of the vertebra is found to exist. Carious meaning degenerated or distorted. So now I'm going back to page 33, chapter 4, under the heading of supposed proximate cause. A diseased state of the medulla spinalis, which is the part of the medulla within the upper cervical vertebra, in that part which is contained in the canal formed by the superior cervical vertebra and extending as the disease proceeds to the medulla oblongata. Page 35 he comments, hence therefore may proceed inflammation of quicker or of slower progress, disease of the vertebra. Now closer to the beginning of this book, he mentions stiffness of the muscular system, and just past pages 62 and 63, he touches on the stiffness of rheumatism being involved. Now, I'd like to show you an MS patient who was a bodyguard in Hollywood, Herman, who had much the same symptoms as Sarah, but he overcame those symptoms to reach remission on my BA10 symptom reversal program after his neurologist told him he will never get better because the disease that's causing his symptoms is incurable and it's a mystery underlying disease that very few people know anything about. Yeah, right. Take a look at Herman's before and after success video. You fell down the steps.
Right.
Then the next month, your first symptom. So first of all, you tripped over, fell against the wall. The second symptom was that you had trouble lifting your knee on your right leg. What was the third symptom?
Third symptom will probably have to be bathroom issues. My wife and I sat and talked about it and figured that like everything that kind of led up to my first symptom had a lot to do with like my stress level.
So did you and your medical doctor bring any of this stuff up?
No. His whole concern was, you show these symptoms, you fall in this box, so because you fall in this box, I want to medicate you with stuff.
And did you tell him that all this stuff happened?
Yeah.
And he ignored it?
Yeah, he ignored it.
And your neurologist, did you tell your neurologist?
Neurologist, yeah.
And he ignored it too? What medication did they put you on?
They put me on Rebif.
Did it help?
No.
Did it cause any extra problems?
Yeah, what ended up happening, I became really tired when I would take the Rebif, and what I also noticed, I would break out in this massive sweat.
Right. And did you decide to go off, or did they take you off?
No, I decided to go off because it wasn't helping, and then I linked up with a woman, a naturopath, and she had put me on a particular diet and stuff like that. So.
And you found that the diet helped better than the Rebif?
Yeah.
All right. You can't jog, can you?
No.
How long has it been since you've been...
I haven't been able to jog for the last 4.5 years.
At all?
At all.
And you have trouble walking up and down steps? You can't walk for very long?
Right, that's true.
So can I just get you walking now, like from here into the lounge room?
Sure. I'm like a robot because my leg is so stiff.
And you're plodding. Just walk to me again.
Yeah, everyone can hear me walk through.
Yeah.
I can't sneak up on anybody.
Yeah. So this lumbar muscle here, it's built up like you wouldn't believe because you've got one leg longer than the other. This is your shorter leg, the right leg, so you've bent down.
I guess that's what explains why one side of my body, because my right calf is bigger than my left as well.
Yeah, because it's taking more body weight.
But his left lat. Or the top.
Yeah.
The top right there.
Yep. And the right deltoid, the right shoulder's up because of the pelvic twist. That's all.
Yeah, I can feel it, isn't it?
Yeah. That's your sternocleidomastoid muscle that goes from there down the front to your sternum. Between those two kidney areas. Listen to this. This one's a good one. This one's real tight. The sound is different.
Oh, okay.
Hear that? Like a solid drum.
Right.
This is more hollow.
Yeah.
And this one's looser. So keep working this for a while. So this here, that there, and the kidney area is all really tight. I want you to try this. Lift one knee up, and then before this one touches the ground, do a hop. And again. You've got to actually bounce onto the foot.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. That's it. That's the way.
Okay.
That's the way. It's easier then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I just came home from work and he's walked around the house, what?
5 times.
Okay, but, so that's 8. Look what he's doing with his legs. Anybody who thinks that this is a scam or clock or, it's not, it's real. It's very real. Mr. Batten is a special man with a special gift. And if you're open to healing and believe that you can get better, he can help you. And no one paid me to say this. It's when I first saw his video,
My wife was a big skeptic.
I just said, what's the catch? Then the more that I watched them and the more that I read his book, I said, wow.
I haven't been able to do this in 4.5 years. Haven't been able to turn around like this. Still got some practice, but normally when I would turn around like this, I'd be on the ground. So I feel good. So thank you, Noel. Thank you, Jody, for all that you guys are doing. Thank you guys very, very much.
Yes, we thank you.
Thank you! When I would do that, it was like really, really hard for me to
Do it again?
get up, squat down like this, and I can stay down and down for like a couple seconds or whatever. And then I can get up freely. Like even just from doing that, I can feel the blood circulating like through my legs.
And what is the name of this amazing man?
Noel Batten. Dr. Noel Batten, the naturopath from Australia. Good day, mate.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man.
Yep.
Let's examine that lack of dopamine theory for a moment. If Parkinson's symptoms were caused by death, of the dopamine producing cells in the substantia nigra and a subsequent lack of dopamine, like doctors and neurologists tell patients, no Parkinson patient would ever experience any variation in symptom severity, because once those cells are dead, they're always dead and can no longer produce dopamine, which is actually why doctors and neurologists class Parkinson's disease and Parkinson's symptoms as being incurable, and it's the basis for them labelling it incurable. However, these symptoms are clearly not incurable, because all patients experience these variations in symptom severity and even bouts of temporary remission. If dopamine producing cells were dead, it would be absolutely impossible for symptom severity to fluctuate at all. Another fact is that if lack of dopamine was the cause of Parkinson's symptoms, when patients took their prescribed man-made dopamine, levodopa, to make up for that lack of the body's own supply of dopamine, the symptoms should just go away. But they don't. And that's because symptoms are not caused by lack of dopamine. And through this video, I'm going to show you a whole heap of proof to show you that the symptoms are not caused by lack of dopamine. Tremors are not caused by lack of dopamine. Stiffness, body stiffness is not caused by lack of dopamine. And balance problems are not caused by lack of dopamine. It's all a drug sales scam that was created in the late 1800s, early 1900s to divert patients away from chiropractors, naturopaths, massage therapists and osteopaths and get them all onto drugs, even though the drugs do nothing, because they can explain that away by telling people that the symptoms are caused by a disease that is incurable. Parkinson's disease is the second most common neurodegenerative disease known, and neurologists everywhere are teaching patients that all the symptoms of this disease are caused by death of the dopamine producing cells of the substantia nigra and a subsequent lack of the neurotransmitter dopamine. But it's easy to prove, very easy to prove. This is nothing more than a pharmaceutical lie created to maximize sales of levodopa, the main drug prescribed by neurologists to manage Parkinson's symptoms, which in the majority of cases it simply doesn't do. It's my opinion that Big Pharma has deceitfully got everyone sidetracked, researching in the wrong direction, looking for some sort of mystery incurable disease, Parkinson's disease, to blame for all the symptoms, particularly the main three: abnormal stiffness in the trunk, balance problems and tremors. However, they will never be able to find it because it just doesn't exist. It's a scam. That's why medical leaders attack naturopaths and chiropractors who start treating these patients, as they have a tremendous fear that they will learn details of the scam. Because Big Pharma knows the truth, that these three symptoms are actually caused by that excess tension in the trunk, pulling on the cervical and lumbar spine to distort them, to cause nerves in the brainstem and spinal cord to be squashed, I guess they felt safe that as long as they could suppress chiropractors and naturopaths from treating these patients with these diseases, their deception wouldn't be discovered. This means patients would continue relying on medical doctors for medication to help them manage their symptoms until they die, which reveals that rather than train doctors and neurologists to refer these patients on to massage therapists, naturopaths and chiropractors, they prefer to force them to go through a long, drawn-out suffering that leads them to a premature death. so they can benefit from the mammon circumstances of this deceitful act. All Big Pharma needed to do was to design drugs that would relax the muscles of the trunk a little bit to reduce the spinal distortions that trunk tension was causing, to give the illusion that those drugs were reducing the underlying mystery incurable disease. And that's exactly what dopamine and levodopa do for patients. As far as I'm aware, this is the most insensitive scam and the biggest scam in the history of mankind. And I'm calling on the leaders of the Christian Church to investigate the cases that I offer in this video and my other videos where I quote medical journals along with scripture that go with those medical journals to inquire about a judicial inquiry over this matter. Okay, after watching Carlos's video, let's revert to common sense facts. If Carlos's tremors were caused by death of the dopamine producing cells in his substantia nigra and a subsequent lack of dopamine, that means every single time I stretched Carlos's neck, those dead dopamine producing cells would have had to come back to life and produce dopamine in seconds, a nanosecond. Then, each time I stopped stretching his neck, that newly produced dopamine would have had to be quickly used up, and the dead dopamine producing cells that were brought back to life would have had to be made to die off again in just seconds to cause his tremor to return. This is nothing less than an absolute impossible hogwash consideration that no neurologist anywhere on the entire planet should have even thought for just a nanosecond to endorse. I mean, after this gets out, any neurologist who promotes this lie about lack of dopamine causing Parkinson's symptoms is really going to earn themselves a bad, dishonest, incompassionate, inconsiderate reputation.
Well, like you said, I am an intelligent person, and I didn't just take it for your word on the website. I went and I Googled what I like to call the bathroom wall, all the garbage you see at the service station on the wall. And one of the comments on that site was Noel Batten should be put in jail for offering false hope.
Right.
And it occurred to me that after 6 years of injecting myself with Copaxone on the recommendation of Dr. Bell, and I went from walking to a wheelchair, that perhaps someone should put him in jail for offering false hope. And not just offering false hope, but collapsing my legs from the injections I've done.
Say that again, your
My
legs collapsed.
The tissue on my legs is collapsed. Scarred, really heavy scar tissue. It's all pocked out from how many times I had to inject that drug. And then, on my last visit in January with Dr. Bell, he told me that all of these anti-inflammatory drugs are of no use because they've found out that they said it's a blood-brain barrier problem, and that there's not enough money from the pharmaceutical companies to research that.
Right.
So they're continuing to give people anti-inflammatory.
Right. And Copaxone
is one of
those.
Yeah, great.
So, your right leg, you've got to drag that, haven't you?
I have to pull it round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you can't bend the knee yet?
No.
No, alright. Your sideways balance comes from the muscles on the side of your thigh where you've been doing your injections.
So wouldn't it go to stand that if you keep poking needles in there,
It would affect your balance.
With your balance?
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And they should know better. The thing is, someone needs to stand up to the leaders of the medical profession and stop them from doing this. It's wrong, it's damaging. And nobody's saying anything. Nobody's standing up to them.
No, when I stand up, I'll stand up. Because that last visit and that last bit of advice was ridiculous.
You're on a downhill spiral. Go home and smoke a little weed.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine. In other words, you'll be able to put up with your slow demise. This area here, that's the area where you were injecting Copaxone.
For 6 years.
For 6 years. And all it's done is made your muscle collapse.
Yeah.
Hasn't given you any gains or any improvement in your...
Well, I was walking when I started and I'm in a wheelchair now.
Alright, so we have another area on this leg. The muscle started to collapse on here, and
Yeah.
so both legs, they've told you that injecting yourself with Capaxone is going to help you, and it's not only not helped you, but you're now in a wheelchair.
And then I had to be tense in the anticipation of a needle every day.
Yeah. You don't have any feeling there.
No. Painful. I feel it.
Alright?
It's just tensing everything. Oh.
Oh! You bent your knee.
I know. Ah!
You bent your knee.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Both of them.
Oh!
Jody!
Oh!
How long has it been since you've been able to lift your legs like that?
I can't remember when. Oh my God! I bent my legs. I bent my legs. That means I can walk again.
Yes.
Those bastards.
Who's the bastards?
The doctors. Tell them I'm gonna park my wheelchair right up their ass. Oh my God, don't tell me I can't walk. I'm gonna walk again.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I did. Well, Sherry, you're a real winner, girl. Look at this. Hey? Concentrate on the knee. Okay, stand there and relax. That's it. That's the way.
No, I need my walker.
3 years since I walked through the door.
3 years since you walked through the door. Wow.
You were gonna help me. I just knew you would. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for believing in us. You know, we're strangers.
Thank you for believing in me, because everybody hasn't believed in me. And they thought I was crazy to have you here. I'm not crazy.
Honest.
I'm not crazy. This is so good. Thank you. Thank you, Jody.
Turn at the waist and look behind you at the wall. All the way around. Turn it all the way around with your waist. That's when your legs slow down. They start to slow down. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Wow,
there you go.
Amazing.
So it is. Now see how your tremors are coming back. Now let them come back. When they've come back just as much, we're going to do it again. Turn around again and see if that changes the right around. There you go. Immediately. Immediately makes a difference. If you stay there, turn a bit further. There you go. It's nearly stopped.
There it is. There.
Now it's stopped completely. Okay, so let's revert to the common sense facts again. If Marek's tremors were caused by death of the dopamine producing cells in his substantia nigra and a subsequent lack of dopamine, that means each time he turned around to neutralise the curve in his spine, those dead dopamine producing cells would have had to come back to life again and quickly produce dopamine in just a matter of seconds due to him turning. Then, each time he turned around to face the front again, that newly produced dopamine would have had to be used up, and the dead dopamine producing cells in his substantia nigra that were brought back to life would have somehow had to be made to die off again in seconds due to him turning to the front in order to cause the tremor to return. This is nothing less than an absolute impossible hogwash consideration that no neurologist anywhere on the entire planet should have even thought for a nanosecond to endorse. I mean, it's easy to see that lack of dopamine can't possibly cause the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Okay, Ross. Day 4, you've just had your second chiropractic appointment. How do you feel? Do you hate chiropractors now, mate?
No, I love them.
Good? You feel good?
Good.
You're looking straight. Yeah. All right, mate, let's go to the unit then, eh? Just relax, let it go, let everything go, and that's great, mate. That's really good. Now, if you carry out a YouTube search using the words neurologist and Parkinson's disease, you'll find an enormous number of videos of neurologists from all over the world, many of them from India, teaching this completely incorrect causal reasoning for Parkinson's symptoms. Now, please keep in mind, neurologists are classed by many as very intelligent people, so they must be aware that lack of dopamine is not the cause of these symptoms. They would have to know this. So why is it that these highly intelligent doctors are still promoting this pharmaceutical lie some 70 years after the idea was conjured up? Righto, Nathan, let's see if we can stop the tremor by pressing against your C3 first. That's your C3 vertebra. So your head shaking has slowed down, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Your arms too.
Yeah, well, definitely the left arm stopped.
Right, so now let's press on the C1. Well, that has more of an effect, doesn't it?
Oh. Yeah.
That hurts though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh,
just pressing those misaligned vertebrae over, back over towards their aligned position.
Okay.
Reduced your symptoms by what? 60, 70%?
Yeah, I'll be confident in saying that.
74-year-old Parkinson patient Betty was in pain every time she breathed in, so she breathed shallow to minimise that pain, thus causing herself to suffer hypoxia. Betty was thereby dying a very slow, painful death, all because 3 medical doctors and 21 accredited therapists, medical and natural, either missed Betty's severe scoliosis due to lack of focus or interest, or chose to ignore it and turn their back on the horrible suffering she was having to endure. None of these accredited healthcare workers had any idea what to look for to ease Betty's pain, as none, not even one of the healthcare college's teachers the truth about scoliosis and Parkinson's disease, even though the truthful causes of Parkinson's disease, noted in Dr. James Parkinson's 1817 book, Essay on the Shaking Palsy, includes curvature of the spine, scoliosis, as a cause of tremors on page 37. It's written black and white. And this is a book you can buy anywhere in the world by contacting Kessinger Publishing's Legacy reprints. Betty's husband Bernie and their son Reggie were working quite hard trying to save Betty and had asked many local doctors and therapists for help to no avail. Eventually, Bernie phoned me in Brisbane asking me to fly to the USA as soon as possible as his wife seemed to be dying. And he told me that 24 local practitioners said that they could do nothing to help Betty's legs work again or to ease her respiratory pain that was agitated simply by her breathing. I immediately booked a flight to Colorado, and myself and my partner had Betty pain-free in only 3 days and helped her legs to develop enough strength to hold her body weight in 6 days. Just describe to me exactly what the pain feels. When you breathe in deep, it hurts like heck. And it's like a sharp pain? No, it stays there. A dull ache. Point to exactly where it hurts. Underneath your arm. Around, under your rib cage, around your rib cage there. But when you're breathing shallow, it doesn't hurt at all. Alright. It sounds like an air pocket, but it could be a muscle that you're stretching. When you breathe, when you stretch your rib cage, it could be you're stretching. Yeah. We can't get rid of it. We've got to consider that it could be a cracked rib. Alright, so if it's a cracked rib, we'd have to get an x-ray, but...
It doesn't hurt to touch though, right? It's on the inside?
No, so it's on the inside, alright. But when Bernie grabbed you, did you feel like you cracked a rib or anything like that?
It just hurt something terrible.
It hurt suddenly?
He didn't need it, he put all this.
Now down in your lower back you've got a pain too that goes across your back muscle.
Yeah.
Okay? Can you tell me your full name?
Betty Jean Green,
Green. And what is your age?
74.
74. And how long ago were you diagnosed with Parkinson's?
4 years.
What's the name of the neurologist who carried out the diagnosis?
Dr. Nitka.
What hospital was he at?
Lutheran in Wheat Ridge, Colorado.
Colorado. This is all the supplements you've had Betty on?
Yes.
And these are all the practitioners here that you've seen on these cards here?
That's correct.
And this is your primary care physician here?
Dr. Berger.
Paul Berger, MD.
Yes.
Okay. And you got more over here on the other cabinet that you're using? Okay. And nothing seems to, well, look at her, she's just getting worse, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
What do you think the dollar worth is on the supplements and herbs?
Supplements and the herbs has got to come to at least $25,000, maybe $30,000.
Okay. Betty says to me that's she's sore there when she's sitting up, laying down, when she whatever.
You bet.
And when I shift the leg, it gets sore there. So that's the area that doesn't get blood very easily. So what I'll do, I'm going to massage. I'm going to massage all the way down to the buttock there. Got to get the blood going. If the blood doesn't go, she won't be able to use her legs. Right, so now you can see the blood coming to this area now.
Oh yeah.
Just starting. Lift it right up high. As high as you can. Can you go higher?
No.
Okay, lift this one up as high as you can. So you're higher with your right one. Okay, now Betty, this is day 6 on the program. Now the next thing is you need to, push your legs on the floor to help blood flow through your thigh muscles. Now this should be every time you're in the wheelchair. You should take the opportunity to push down on the floor to work yourself backwards to encourage blood to flow into your thigh muscles.
Right now you have your weight on your right side.
So move your
So you
left
should
foot.
pick your left foot up.
That's it. That's
There you
it.
go.
Perfect. That's
There
it.
you go.
Don't lean too. Look. Don't lean too far forward. Stand. That's it.
Think about standing up. You gotta look where you're going, remember? You gotta look up and see where you're going.
Yes.
There you go. That's perfect.
Concentrate on the knees. That's it. That's it.
There you go.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Beautiful.
You're doing it, Betty.
Relax on the inside while you're doing it if you can.
But you gotta look up. Remember, keep that head up so you can see where you're going.
Be proud of yourself, girl. This is excellent.
She lifted her head up by herself.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're gonna switch hands, okay?
Excellent. Excellent.
Go, girl.
Oh.
Look at you. You're giving me chills.
Excellent. This is excellent.
It's because we had a torch.
Is that
You
it?
put that torch under you and got your fire lit, or is that what happened?
That's it.
Put your head up, honey.
I'm really proud of you, girl, because on Sunday when we arrived, you couldn't use your legs, could you?
No.
They were just pieces of meat hanging off your body, weren't they?
Yeah, much.
Mush. And I mean, the tremors in your arms, you know now that all you got to do is look down at them, spread them out, relax them, and they stop, don't they?
Spread the right hand out.
Don't they?
There you go.
Now look at your left hand. Look at it shaking. Look down at it. That's it. Now calm your. That's it.
There you go.
There you
Relax
go.
your shoulders. Let all that go. Relax it right through your shoulders.
That's it. That's the way.
Right down your neck, right down to your belly. Relax everything.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah.
Are you happy with the program? Jody and I doing what we do?
Oh, I'm proud of you both.
Are you? Good on you. You guys. Tears of happiness. Let them flow, girl.
Tears of heaven.
Let them flow. Hey? You know the answers now, don't you, love? Hey? You know the answers now. There is a new era on the way, a new learning that will enable the natural health industry to help people like never before. We should not be in this industry just to make an income. We need to have our heart in our work and reach through to the soul of the people we treat to really make a difference. Practitioners of tomorrow need to know the spine and how muscles influence the spine. They need to know the different thoughts influence a release of different hormones that all have a different effect on the body's immune system. They need to learn about the prefrontal cortex, the orbitofrontal cortex, the dorsolateral convexity, the substantia nigra, the locus coeruleus, the amygdala and the hypothalamus, and what these different brain sections do to the immune system and how they can work to improve the efficiency of these different brain functions in overcoming muscular rigidity autoimmune disorders. They need to learn about the heart and the spirit of a person and how to overcome all aspects of ill health, right down to love and romance in a relationship. Pills and surgery will never fix the problems that create muscular rigidity autoimmune disorders. Only chiropractors working side by side with natural autoimmune practitioners can do this work. For any person in a position of power to attack or to spread rumours to degrade the true healing art of chiropractic, as in the case of Wilk versus the AMA, or to try to stop a therapist, or any person for that matter, from trying to help people out of suffering is, in my opinion, the lowest of the low. These autoimmune patients are going through terrible suffering, and they need hope, faith and encouragement with promising, truthful facts that can help them, like the ones here documented in Dr. Parkinson's book. This is not a book to be ignored like it has been. It is a book that should be referred to in every medical, chiropractic and natural therapy college on the planet. In my opinion, the reason there are so many muscular rigidity autoimmune disorders that are classed as incurable is because the autopsy findings documented in this book have been ignored for all these years. The results of my 5-day treatment program, which are based on the writings of this book, in putting many patients into remission in only 5 to 7 days, is proof beyond doubt that Dr. Parkinson was right.